So we've got a great topic this week. Last week we were talking about, some do's and don'ts as a buyer in the market. We've got the video on the roundtableradio.com. Check it out. And this week, John wanted to add to that with some common pitfalls to avoid if you're purchasing a home.
Right. I wanted to go over what's happening now in the end of March of 2017 that I'm seeing across the board over and over again. It's common pitfalls that a buyer, whether you're putting your house on the market and you're buying a new home, or you're a sleeper waiting to purchase, or somebody who is right now looking for homes, what you're up against and maybe how to get around it, or, something that'll help you find that house you want quicker. All right. So the number one thing I'm finding right now is any mortgage loan officer out there has a lot of pre-approvals out there to couples and
more
single,
than ever.
Yeah, that we're waiting for people to buy, to find the house they want or that they qualify for. And that's the thing. If you can't find a house in your price range, remember your pre-approval is based off of your monthly payment, not that whatever $180,000 or $250,000. So there's wiggle room in there, and you should have two approvals. You should have one for conventional and one for the dreaded FHA. Nobody wants FHA anymore, but I have one person it's one single man who qualifies for $125,000 conventional, but he qualifies for $180 FHA. And it's not much of a higher payment. It's just the way they rate their debt to income ratios, which I don't want to get into that. It's either 45% with conventional or 55% as far as FHA is concerned of your gross monthly income. It's 10% swing where, sure, they have that dreaded FHA mortgage insurance, but it's a lower interest rate and you have more of a buyer power.
FHA is a great program.
It is. Eventually you can refinance out of it, or if, this is your starter home, you're not going to have it for more than 2 or 3 years anyway, and you're building your credit up even better. So the other thing you can look for too is, let's say you are only pre-approved for $230,000, but everything in your liking, your price range you want is like $280,000. Well, find a fixer-upper. Go with the 203K. We have plenty of different videos you can watch or podcasts about the 203K program. You can ask questions. I still have that pamphlet that I can send you about the ins and outs of doing the 203K. Find a house for $180,000 that if you put in $30,000, it might be worth the $250,000, $280,000
all day,
or whatever the numbers are. That's something we can go over, and it's not that bad of a nightmare. They have 6 months to fix it up, and you can still live in the home. And you're getting everything you like within 6 months. It's a brand new home, so don't be afraid of a fixer-upper.
You're almost better buying a fixer-upper because now you have equity in the property. We were talking about that actually in the first segment of preparing your home to sell. It all starts when you buy and how you buy. Don't go buy the most expensive house.
You don't have to. I think you really should gear into what you want your monthly payment, not to sound like a car payment. Where do you have to be? A car salesman.
No, it's finances.
But your expenses.
Nothing wrong with car salesmen.
Absolutely not. But if you know your expenses and all right, you know what, I'm paying rent for $850 a month now. I can probably go to $1,500. You're looking at a mortgage of around $200,000. That's not bad. You know what I mean? And for maybe a little bit more, $220, you might be at $1,650. So that's something you should pay attention to, because the taxes and the insurance are what affect your monthly payment, your property taxes and insurance, whether they're included in the mortgage or not. And then there's homeowners association dues on a condo that everyone forgets about. Some are $300, $400, $500 per month.
Yeah, they can be up there
on top of your mortgage that you pay separately. So be aware of that monthly payment, not so much that $180,000 pre-approval or $250 or $400. So that's the main one I'm seeing in today's market. The other one I'm seeing is a couple or just a single guy will make tons of money, make excellent money, has a lot of history at his current employer, tons of savings, but they've been living on a cash basis so long that they don't have sufficient credit history, or their credit history is just horrible. I'm talking didn't even look at the mail when it came in to pay a bill. And I'm talking, $300 credit card, it's only $15 a month, pay it. Or before you even try to have your credit pulled, at least get some sort of free site like this Credit Karma or Discover has your credit score. And it could be pretty sad if you're not, your credit score is like 500 on Discover. So there's an issue. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring out. I'm seeing a lot of people call in saying, hey, my Credit Karma score says I'm at 720 and my Discover score says I'm at 780. But when a mortgage company pulls it, it's like 640 to 650. It's a great tool to use to keep track of your credit.
Yep.
And, to monitor if anything new happened or, identity theft, somebody took out credit in your name. But try not to pay too much attention to those free websites that give you a credit score. All right. Even if you went and got your free credit score per year through annualcreditreport.com,
yep,
their credit scores are close to ours. You have to pay for that. It's like, I don't know, $10 each bureau, all three bureaus. Mortgage companies go through a factual data company, and they all use different ones, but we rate our credit simulator, our credit scoring system is a lot different than what you're going to get on these free sites. And it's hard to get that through to, a young couple out of college that just got married and they monitor everything and then they see, oh, well, it says here you only need a 620 credit score to qualify on Google. And on Credit Karma, it says I'm at 622. When I pull your credit, most likely it's at 580. Doesn't mean I can't do a loan for you, but I just don't want you to be, blindsided by that. Don't pay too much, attention to Credit Karma or Discover Score, but it's a great monitoring tool to see what you have. We go really into detail on our credit reports. Mm-hmm. The other thing is a lot of people who have been through a bankruptcy, a short sale, or a foreclosure in the past. There's a lot of you out there. For what we went through in 2007 and 2008. And, it all came down in 2010 where a lot of foreclosures happened. Then again in 2012 because a lot of mortgage companies were letting people stay in the house for 4 years without making a payment. Year. So we're at that point where you're getting out of the woods and the waiting period is over, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, or even 4 years on a conventional loan sometimes. It doesn't necessarily mean, okay, the waiting period's over, I can get a mortgage now. You have to reestablish your credit. And we're also going to look at, did you have late payments, 30-day late payments on your mortgage or anything prior, like the month prior to the bankruptcy or foreclosure? If you're going through anything like that, try to continue to pay your bills on time and then reestablishing your credit by having low balances on your credit cards.
Under 30%, right?
Yeah, the general rule is to keep it under 30%, but the way to get higher scores is have a lot available to you and try not to use any of it. If anything, even 10%. That's the key because it shows you have all this access to this credit, but you're not really using it. So if 30% is the general rule, but even lower, the scores will go higher. If you're stalemate at like 700 and you want to get to that 720, so you'll get a better interest rate on a conventional loan, pay down the credit cards, or it works hand in hand with increasing your limit. A little trick there for you. Increase your limit, and you might take a little bit of a hit for a month or two, but again, it's available credit. It's 30% of your score, and then all the rest is history and variety of what you have. All right. So what I'm also seeing is there's sleepers out there that are putting off buying a home, waiting to improve their credit. Now, this may be a mistake today because of the interest rate hikes we're seeing.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get a little higher payment going with FHA using manual underwriting where your score is between 580 and 619, because everybody needs a 620 or above to get the good rates, and then essentially 640 would be the excellent rates. So I wouldn't put it off. I mean, what's the difference? Like 6 months ago, I could offer 3.75 instead of 3.25 on an FHA loan if your credit was poor. Now it's a whole point higher. Instead of 4.25, you're looking at 4.75, even 5% if your score is bad. But if you put it off a year or two, who knows what the rates will be then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the values are going to be higher, so you're not going to qualify for even more. Especially what I'm seeing too is people having no money in the bank, wanting 100% financing that constantly have overdrafts. As far as on their banking statements, the only thing we have to look at besides their credit is their banking statements, and then they're always getting overdrafts or not paying attention to their their bills as far as that, or overpaying on something and it wasn't available in their account. So that could also lose a loan for you. Pay attention to your banking statements to make sure you're not getting overdrafts. And then student loan defaults. And then the biggest one is condos are hot, and it's great to get a condo. As far as when you're looking at a condo, please make sure it's warrantable, meaning it's not like a hotel or a resort. If it's non-warrantable, very hard to find a lender. You'll have to find a specialty lender on that. And then as far as being self-employed, pay attention to your net taxable income, line 31 on your profit and loss, and we can add in depreciation. Most self-employed people say, I make $200,000 a year, when in fact they write off everything down to like $20,000 or $30,000. So that's the number we go by as lenders, and that's pretty much what I'm up against, and what you're going to be up against as a buyer in 2017.